Good morning, everybody. It's John Corelli, your average guy, and his average guy opinions. Gonna lighten it up a little today. I've been getting a little political lately, which is fine. You're an asshole. What an asshole. All he did was barely move his tail out of the way and he tried to swat at me. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're famous now. You and my 18 subscribers. Your tail is now famous. Okay, you happy? You little shit. Anyway, maybe I'll do a 10-minute video where I kill my cat. No, I love him. He's just a pain in the ass. He was born feral, so maybe that explains why he's kind of a jerk. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, like these crooked glasses, by the way. What a look. Oh man, maybe it's my face that's crooked. This is episode 52. And like I was starting to say, I'm trying to lighten things up a little bit this weekend. Um, my last video was about a jizz based cookbook. You may have avoided that, and I will not put you through that anymore here because that's just not nice. I am going to talk about some stuff. This is going to be a two-parter where I talk about my travels, which have been relatively extensive, I think. I'd say more than most, less than some. And then part two tomorrow, I'll do a little bit more on traveling and just some cool shit I've done. So let's get to it. My biggest travels, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Canada, no big deal. I think a lot of people have done that. Just like cross the border, and been to Matamoros in Texas and seen what a poor place that is. I've been to Niagara Falls when we crossed the border back when I was married back in the late 90s, and that was cool. And I've been to Cancun, which hardly counts as Mexico at all. Got to go see Chichen Itza though. That was pretty cool. That was a good trip. Little sidebar on that, and I've made a joke about this. We were up there, and it's like a mini bus. It probably carries about 20 to 30 people. It has a couple TVs in it. They know they're dealing with Americans who need to be pampered. So uh, it would hit several hotels on the way. I believe it's north. Tulum, I think it is north of Cancun. But they'd hit a few hotels. So some of the people that were on the southern part of the route had to wait longer than those of us that were lucky. And at the northern end of the route. And so for them, it was like a maybe 4.5 hour ride. And for those of us that got on near the end, before we just did the main drive, it was like a 3 hour ride. And these people are from Alabama. Trust me, that was not a guess. They made it quite clear they were from Alabama, and they were just trying to be funny, but it was kind of embarrassing at the same time. He's like, "Yeah, everyone talks about the blue water here. Well, I got blue food coloring at home. I could just put in my tub." But it was their backhanded way of bitching about being on a ride to see one of, I think at one point it's at least one of the 14 wonders of the world because I know they do different sets. It's not as amazing apparently as what's the one down in the former Incan one down in Peru, and I can't think of it. It's the big one, but it's Chichen Itza isn't that. Machu Picchu, that's the one I'm thinking of. That's one of the seven wonders of the world. But this is amazing. It's an entire village. It's not just like one pyramid. It's an amazing place. And my ex-wife was really good at photography and often just sometimes very lucky. And there were, yeah, shut up, go away. There were a couple nuns wandering among the ruins, and my ex-wife somehow got a couple of shots of just them. There were hundreds of people there that day, but somehow my ex-wife got these few shots of just these two nuns, like in this lightly, almost champagne-colored habits. Really fucking cool. Anyway, I got a lot more to talk about in 6 minutes. So I'll try to get to it as quickly as possible. Maybe it'll end up a three-parter. Who knows? But yeah, so I got to go to Europe in 1993. I was very fortunate. My grandfather died back in the 80s, my dad's dad, and he left me about 10 grand. I was able to use part of that to finish up going to college. And then, well, I didn't quite graduate. I was scheduled to graduate in summer of 93. Didn't get it done. But we still went to Europe. Me and my two best friends, Troy and Chris, who went to Jefferson High. Some of you Jefferson Knights are watching and know who I'm talking about. We also met up with a third guy, and then we met up with some Swedes that we'd never met and had a lot of fun with them. But yeah, so I had about 4 or 5 grand to get by for 2 months, which you could do back then. We got a Eurail pass. That wasn't super expensive. I think it was maybe $500 at the time, and then We hit youth hostels for the first half, but in the second half we hit what they call pensions, which are basically private-owned apartments. Um, and they rent them out for just as cheap as hostels. By the way, kids, that's my advice to you. If you can go to a pension instead of a hostel, I highly recommend it. You get way more privacy, every bit probably cleaner. It's almost like a B&B. You won't meet people, as many people, but just a thought. Anyway, so that was cool. We started off in London. Went up North England, not very far North England. We went to Stratford upon Avon, where Shakespeare is from. We went to Bath, where Tears for Fears is from. We hit a lot of countries. I hit 14 countries in 2 months. It was really great. Saw a lot of cool stuff. I didn't get to see Paris. We ended up kind of going a more northern route where we went through Brussels. We went through Amsterdam, which was cool. Got super high. I was not a big pot smoker. That was the shit. I mean, that's like the Colorado stuff now. That was wow. I was like two puffs and me and Troy were gone. Hit Germany, got to see Dachau in Munich, which is an amazing, depressing concentration camp. Got to see museums all over the place. Got to see a topless woman in the park in Germany. That was cool. This is kind of a funny, quick story. We were in an art museum in Munich, and it was like a 3 or 4 story building. And once in a while you look out the window at the park, and all of a sudden you look out, and there's this topless woman, hot. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest, huge breasts, and I hadn't seen anything in a month because my girlfriend was back home, eventual wife was back home. I was being good. I didn't cheat on her, but there are breasts down there. I'm like, oh my god. So we finish up in the museum, and we go, well, let's see if the huge-breasted woman is still topless in the park, and we go out and we're trying to be cool. We're not going to walk right up to her. I swear to God, it was like something out of a bad movie. So stereotypical, like these 4 middle-aged Japanese men, big old, telescopic fucking 35 millimeter cameras, just go right on top of her. And she's just like, oh, she covers up and takes off. We're all like, thanks, guys. Thanks for that. Thanks for scaring the woman away that was beautiful and topless. We appreciate that. There's a reason, we bombed you. Kidding. I don't joke about nuclear weapons generally. Just threw that in there. So that was cool, though. Germany was amazing. All these countries are amazing. I got to go to Copenhagen briefly, up in Denmark, and then we hit also in Germany. Oh, by the way, in Munich, we went to the Hofbrauhaus, and that's where we met these Swedes. Great guys, Olaf, Peter, and Patrick. A lot of fun. The first night we met them, we were ignorant Americans, and we also hooked up. Troy and I were on our own, and that's where we met Chris and our other friend George. So 4 Americans, 3 Swedes, and we ended up meeting. It was kind of funny because we thought they were speaking German. They're like, no, this is Swedish, because we're idiot Americans, couldn't tell the difference. So we started talking to them. They gravitated toward us because they wanted to hang out with Americans, and so we ended up hanging out with them for like 2 whole weeks. We went out to Czechoslovakia. It was Czechoslovakia at the time. Now it's Czech Republic and Slovakia. We hit both of those countries if they had been separate countries at the time. Got to go to Hungary and see Budapest, and every night drank our asses off with these guys. So we had a lot of fun. It was back, you were 25 and you could do that. You could get by on 3 hours sleep and see amazing sights and do amazing things, but still drink your ass off at night. The first night we met them was a lot of fun. You paw at me, I'm throwing you. I swear to God. Like I said, bedtime for Bonzo. Jerk. Anyway, so the night we met these Swedes, we talking about cultural differences between the United States and Sweden, and they said they were just funny. They go, well, in Sweden we don't really do a lot of drugs like pot or coke. We just drink, but we drink a lot, and they did. I mean, these guys. It was unbelievable. They wake up with a beer just to do the hair of the dog thing. They're like, Jesus Christ, these guys could drink. So it was probably good that we only hung out with them for 2 weeks because we may need liver transplants upon arriving back in the United States. I'll probably make this a three-parter because I'm already on my way to 10 minutes. That's pretty much the first half of my European trip, and it covers a lot of my travels in my life, but still, it was a great thing for me. Learned a lot, did a lot. So I'll close this one out. At 10 minutes, and I'll see you for part 2 where I talk about the southern half of Europe. Thanks, you guys. See you soon. Bye.